Hey everyone, this is Jamie Pate. Welcome to this video and my channel. As always, thank you so much for being here. My hope today is just to get you really excited for SBC Fest. As this video drops today, we are just a day away from SBC Fest 2. So join me as I have a couple of things to share with you. Okay, sitting here on my table is my project from last fall's SBC Fest. So if you're not familiar with what SBC Fest, it is an all-day, 2-day event that is sponsored by ScrapbookCom, hence the SBC, and it is packed all day long with makers sharing in real time a project that is exclusive to SBC Fest, and it comes with a live chat that goes on while the making happens. So fun. And the chat can be crazy and wild and inspiring and all the things. So the first SBC Fest, I hope you were able to join that day. It occurred last fall in September, and I had been invited to be part of that. And so I'm going to unpack for you part of what I did and a bonus section of what I did. And then also invite you, plenty of links below, to either go watch that class again or get yourself all ready for SBC Fest 2 that starts tomorrow. Okay, so to start, I want to talk about this lovely album that is on my workspace. It is the Blush Velvet 6x8 album. It's exclusive to ScrapbookCom, and it's they only have them as long as they have them. It has a lovely book plate, and you can see now what we have inside. I should say Anita Michelle 2022 because this is a year full of my granddaughter is what I'm going to share with you today. But intermixed in here are also some specific things to SBC Fest that you can only find on that presentation. So I just wanted to let you know what this album was. I get asked about it a lot. It is very keepsake, but it can, again, it can be anything. But I am just one of those scrapbookers who love so many different venues, if you will, for sharing our stories. It used to be, I was exclusive 12x12. Lots of 12x12 albums in my library. I treasure them so much. I love them so much. So much story there. 6x8 album, pocket paged album, is a wonderful addition to these stories. Mini albums, you've seen me do mini albums here on the channel. Memory planner. So, I mean, it's just, there's like no one way that I tell my story. I can't contain it to one way. It has to be lots of ways. But I did know that when this little girl was born, that I wanted to have a very specific, singular place for her first year. Okay. Enough talk, James. So this album for now actually just started because she just had her 1-year birthday. This album now opens up with these pocket pages from ScrapbookCom that are 2x2, and I just put in her mom's photo from each month of the year, and they already have, most of them, have little markers in them so that I know when that's what month they are, but it's also in order. And then when I turned it over, I didn't really want any photos here, so I just added some swatches, mostly from my scraps, of 49 in Market, and that's what you find here. So when you open this up, I have here Festive Alpha die for her initials. I love this fancy circle border. I don't use it enough, but when I see it, I just love it so much. This is one of the tabs from scrapbook.com. It's a heart tab. It folds over to look like a heart. And then, of course, just my little notched album, my notched banners that I love to use so much, and then word fetty. And so to start with, I use a lot of the 3x4 up, 6x4 down, but when I didn't have a photo, and like over here I didn't have any photos at all, so I just filled them with the baby pocket cards from scrapbook.com. But then here on this vellum, to back up the embellished vellum there, I embellished a couple of layers of paper here, and again with the stamped sentiments. So easy way to fill your pages, right? Or your pockets rather, is with these cards. And then this is so much fun. This is a 3x8 pocket page. So the photo itself is actually 3x8. So that was a great fun little twist to adding, some of the pages weren't exactly the same, actually, though you'll find later on that my pages are pretty much the same, but there's a reason for that. So hang on for that story. And so these 3x8 pages were great for a lot of storytelling. My daughter, actually, my granddaughter started life immediately, pretty much in the NICU. And so these are some actually very emotional pictures to look at. But isn't that what pictures are, right? They just take you back to a moment in time. And I will just probably never forget the moment in time when I saw this picture for the first time. It broke me. It completely broke me. It'll break me right now if I think about it, but let's move on. So I had lots of space here for journaling because I was actually the only one to actually see what happened in her birth. I did watch her be born via C-section. And so I wrote that story because no one else knows it. Her mom doesn't know the story. So this was my way to share that, and I'm so glad that I did. So this starts out, it just continues. There's like nothing very special here to start out. I mean, it is special in that it's your own story if you're using this format, but it's a pocket page, it's a journal page, it's a photo, and then here I don't have a photo. So, and I'm not even sure why I did it, but sometimes I really like to work outside the page. So this is also a pocket page from the baby, pocket page from ScrapbookCom, and then I added some ribbon, and then I cut out these hearts from a card, and I had another one here, so I just used them as some real simple embellishment. Have another cluster here, and this paper here, though, actually is Heidi Swapp. Another photo, more journaling, this time a 6x4 page of journaling, and a thankful stamp. This is actually upside down. So this pocket page here is this one, but it's upside down. And I like just having this little diagonal playing off each other. This is a stamp from scrapbook.com, another pocket card. Don't you love when you have these empty spaces in your memory planner, or in like I do here in this pocket page, where I know what photo is supposed to go here, but for some reason I still haven't printed it and put it there, but I have a note, so I know it goes there. Pocket page, and then a lot more photos still of her in NICU, as this was literally just the first week. And so this here is outside the pocket embellishment. It's a nested tag. It's the butterflies one and butterflies two. It's a stamp sentiment. These are very, very basic embellishment clusters that I want to share with you here. There's not actually a whole lot going on. I kept it pretty simple. And so I just hope you though see that it's a lot of repetition, and that I don't rebuild the wheel every time. Now, we're getting into the SBC Fest class part of my album. You will see how I put this together and what is underneath there. I'm talking about these journal cards and the embellishment around them, and using these 4x6 pockets, which I love. I love their size. I love that they layer over other story that's behind it. And I added a tag in here and more photo. You're going to see this come to life here as well. It's an opportunity for more journaling if you wish. We talk about, again, more outside the pocket, which I love outside the pocket. I love to feel it. I love this moving around. I love the texture and the elevation. Same with here. Got more great space for journaling, hidden journaling, if you want. And then I wrapped it up here on this page. And except for the fact that I added in these sunny lanes, because I do that. This is the class. It's an hour-long class. You can see all the details. I talk through all the measurements. I share a lot more of the story. And so that's SBC Fest. So yay for SBC Fest. I hope you guys are there tomorrow. Okay, let me just talk you through what happened with the rest of this book, because it is finished in terms of the photos that I want to have in here and here. What I did here for a little bit, I'm using a lot of 49 in market. And so on here, this is a 6x8 piece of paper. Then I just added, punched these holes in so that it would fit in my book. I added some rub-ons. You might recognize here that this is Sunny Lane. That was actually some background paper that I had made with ink and gel plate. And then I added some rub-ons to it and layered those. I do this a lot. You're going to, whoops, and I pop them off a lot too. I'll fix that later. But I do this a lot. Well, actually I can fix it right now because I can still feel the adhesive. Where I take, actually what I did here, these are rub-ons from 49 and Market, and I rub them onto acetate, and then I fancy cut them, fussy cut them, so that they are very, very clear leaves. They're very ethereal, very, very transparent. And this little this background paper here looks like ledger paper. It's part of, when you buy 49 and Market, when you buy their 12 by 12 packs, there's always like this bonus print on the back of the packaging page. And I love using those. There's always some really fun pieces. So that's what that was. This is something you're going to see here for a little while, where I have a 3x4 card that is matted against another card, and it's journaling, and it talks about the story that's on the facing page. And so we're going to repeat this here again. Another little trick I have often employed, and this photo here is 6x4, but I have it in 2 3x4 pockets. So I just found a safe place to trim it, so it's one photo, but it's in 2 pockets. It's just a fun little thing to do. And for a little while I was separating my stories by vellum, and I did that for the first part of this book. This is probably one of my favorite pages. Again, 49 and Market paper, and this tag was made from Print Shop from Vicki Bouton. I have taken rub-ons and rubbed it onto a piece of cardstock and trimmed it out to be a sentiment strip. And then here's the Sunny Lane, just the leaves, all in green. And then I popped up a butterfly rub-on. It was rubbed onto vellum this time. And it's very, I don't know, let me make sure you can see this, because there's a lot of elevation here, and it's just so much fun. I love that. That's probably my favorite page. Again, we're repeating the 3x4 card for journaling and more photos. This time I used the panoramic page. Love these pages because you get so much story in here. And repeating myself here, this is actually some paper from ScrapbookCom. I added some 49 and Market rub-ons, which kind of then creates your own background paper, right? And then again with the Sunny Lane florals and the leaves and another butterfly. And you're going to see it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Oh yeah, we did it again right here too. Background has rub-ons, and then the dies and a butterfly. Yep. Okay, let's continue on. So here on this page, let me explain this page a little bit because I changed it up just slightly. What happened first? I literally had this little notched banner here. Can you see that? And the negative heart and this ribbon, literally scrap sitting on my table. I picked them up one day and I just stapled them together, and I put them, you know, I've showed you this before, where I just keep things in their colors in a bowl. And so when I was adding these photos to this page, and I knew I was going to have this little embellishment cluster here, I grabbed that, and then I cut out this hello. It's the thank you 3 sentiments, I believe, is where this hello belongs to. And of course, little notch tags, because I'm Jamie. And then I just layered them all together. So then came this page, and I just kind of mirrored that embellishment just a little bit, not quite as much. I have journaling in here. I made a pocket that her picture's matted on, and then added this tag to the back, and so, or inside the pocket rather. So still had plenty of journaling going on there. But then I loved how these guys played off of each other. And then this page too was a lot of fun. This paper is from ScrapbookCom. It's probably from the Harvest collection. And what I did here is I added adhesive to this photo on these 2 sides. And then I matted it I cut this pattern paper out that's from 49 and Market. And I used a Catherine Pooler, these postage dies. So fun. I love using those. And then I had an extra photo that didn't fit anywhere, so I just tucked it back here. And then here's the journaling 3x4, and you can just make it a little tag just by adding your little notch banners. Like, no big deal, right? And just tuck that inside here. Supposed to tuck in there. There we go. Okay, and then again with my little embellishments, this is a large rub-on that is on vellum. Again, fussy cut it out, layered all those leaves on top of it, and I think it makes for a lovely page. All right, now again, 3x4 card with journaling, storied photos on this side. And then I'm getting kind of down to, I was wanting to get her book done. What was really important to me, and I think this might be hopefully a helpful tip. What was really important to me was getting all these photos from her year printed, and I didn't worry about whether I made it pretty or not. I think it's pretty just by the fact that I have them all in pockets, and that's an accomplishment. Sometimes the big frog to eat is getting our photos actually printed. That can be a really big task, especially if you have a year-long story. I worked on this story a little bit through the year, but I had a lot that I wanted to really get finished, and I goaled myself for her birthday to get it done. And I was so glad that I did. So here I kind of kept it really basic, where we have the 3x4s. I have a 4x6 card that I cut out of scrap of cards of pattern paper, and 3x4 card with journaling, 3x4 card with journaling that talks about that. That's the story on this side. I still have these flips in here if I needed extra photos added to that day, because I wanted to keep them all in one place instead of turning it over and here is another story, or here is the same story. This is another story. Here's its journaling. This is another story. I don't have the journaling yet. And basically at this point, I don't think I have any more journaling yet. At this point, what I did was I still kept with my cards, and I gave it the date or like the title of what was going on here. Obviously July 4th, right? And turn it over, and we have it again. We have the date and what the event was. Now I will share this little, edition here. I loved having, it's kind of a reveal, but it's also an insert, another edition. This photo didn't really fit, and I didn't want to put it underneath anywhere. It was a very important photo to me because that's 4 generations right there with my mom, myself, my daughter, and her daughter. So super important photo, right? So I just trimmed out a piece of acetate, punched holes in it, and it's literally just clipped here. And I added just a little circle tab, so that was just easier to turn over. And I have space here to either journal, which I probably will, because there's a lot going on this day. But that's how that worked out. And it just kind of worked out that way, and I'm glad it did. Again, 4x6 and date and title for this story. This is another story over here. Same thing. And this is how this book basically finishes out. Only had 3 pictures for this little story here, so I have an opportunity to add some embellishment, journal card, or whatever I want there. But this is ready now just to go pop back into and add whatever I want. I've got these little spaces here that are home to journaling, are home to embellishing them if I feel like it. But man, am I so glad to have all of these photos printed. This is a different way of adding this horizontal 3x4 in, and I used a trick from Memory Planner where I used some sticker paper to adhere it to this. It's adhered to the outside of the pocket, obviously, and so it flips. Lots of real estate for whatever. I think you get the idea, right? So that's a look at what SBC Fest inspired last year and what it looks like now. And so what's the moral of the story? The moral of the story is so many things. Print your photos. Even if you're not ready to make them pretty, print your photos, put them where they belong. You'll love that, because it just opens up this avenue of being able to go back at some other time and fill in the blanks. The other moral of the story is go to SBC Fest tomorrow and enjoy and have fun and give yourself a little break and just interact with all kinds of creatives that you might not have ever met before. I know there's several that I have never seen their work before, and I'm looking forward to that. And third, what's always my message? My message is, obviously, I hope this shares the idea that it doesn't have to be perfect to be beautiful. This isn't perfect, and it's so beautiful to me, just like your work is going to be beautiful to you. All right, guys, that's a wrap, and I'll see you in the next video.